there is something about my culture growing up that celebrated fun and celebrated experiences and like being free. There's also parts of it that hindered it. Don't get me wrong, but like my culture, like Yoruba culture, Nigerian culture, celebrates just experiencing life and finding the good and the fun in life. You know, that's through rhythm, through dance, through poetry, through arts, like just expression, and that transfers. Like you find it when you go to a Nigerian wedding. I beg you, in your lifetime, at some point, I hope someone gets you invited to a Nigerian wedding. If I get married, if that's a thing for me, like I want like you see it done in a Nigerian wedding, the joy, the freedom, the soul, the just that natural, just kind of like because this is the thing, as like. And on the flip side, in American perspective, I'll speak about that in a second. But from my perspective, it's like, it's just what you grew up with. You saw it. Yeah. My parents had to live through. My dad was born in 1960. Nigerian got his independence from the Queen in 1960. So his growing up was literally, growing up in post-colonial Nigeria. That was a phase. That was a thing. That was an experience that birthed a lot of like, just fighting for your right to exist. That was the kind of culture. It was celebratory in the sense of, yes, we have the freedom. We're not under the Queen anymore, even though we really were, but it's what it is. But that was his experience growing up, and the people around that age that grew up. So they grew up in this idea of, we have to live this life because we only have this life. Right? And it transferred into the fact that they worked really hard and played really hard, and they celebrated, they had fun, they explored life, they explored the world, right? So it's transferred into them. His parents, on the other hand, had their own experience. So it just transfers over time. I think hardship, as sad as it is, hardship births like perseverance and like this natural like energy to just like overcome. And I think that's palpable. So when you have that as your default, this idea that the world isn't set up for you to success, so you wake up understanding, you grow up, go through college, go through school, go through everything, understanding that the world isn't set up for you, you have to fight past that. It builds this resilience that can mostly be expressed through your intentional freedom, like the intentional choice to be free, to act free, to experience. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Does that? I don't know if that, I'm trying to articulate it in a way that I don't think. So it's like, but on the flip side, what I've had with a lot of my friends, probably not from my experience. So, an English, someone from an English background, for instance, or who's grew up in the UK, or someone that grew up in America, who is just very much, just what's it called, normal, white, middle class, or white English background. It's like, when people talk about like, I don't know, not even racism, but just like oppression, it's white privilege and stuff like that. It's not the fact that, what's it called, hardship isn't universal. Everybody goes through shit. Everybody suffers through shit. But the hoops that people have to pass through are different. When you don't have that need to fight for your existence in the world, when the world already is playing to your tune and it's playing to the sound of your drum, you don't have that natural need to kind of profess that freedom. You just are. So what I found with the conversations with my friends, with all like George Floyd thing and everything, when you're talking about talking about soul, innit, bringing soul to music and how that is expressed, is I'm realizing that if you've not had to enter a store and worry that a security guard is looking at you because they think you're going to steal something, or you go into a car and someone is calling the police on you because they don't expect you to be able to drive a BM. That happened to me like literally a few months ago. Like, or you've not, I'll give you many examples. It's like when you start unpeeling that, you realize, oh, I've lived a life that has not been free from hardship, but it's not been hindered because of the way I look and my experience.
Yeah.
Right? So does that make sense? So
Absolutely,
overall,
man.
when you've had to fight for what you have, you also make that choice to live life boldly and just with all you've got, which is what translates into the music of, when we talk about like Motown. Then people were coming out of segregation. Then people were coming out of hardship. They were coming out of years and years and years of slavery, years and years and years of Jim Crow. Their music was their outlet because their Monday to 9 to 5, every other day of their life was them fighting just to exist. And then they found this outlet in music, and they're like, I'm going to pour everything into this. That's why the music is, you can't replicate that. It's birthed out of the pain, out of the struggle, out of the joys of that space. That's why when we think about like, when we talk about like the Motown stuff, and we talk about Afrobeats, and we talk about the music of like, from specifically Black origin, people usually associate it with like, funk and soul. And soul is the word a lot of people use. That soul is because it's coming from a place of, I had to fight to exist. So this music thing that I'm doing, I'm going to do it because it's my outlet. It's my safe space. I'm going to live it boldly and large. That's what it is.
That was beautiful, man.
Does that make sense?
That was beautiful, man.
Yeah?
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah,
That's a lot to think about that, man.
It's these conversations, man. I love being able to have them, especially in a safe space as well.
Yeah, man.
Like, it takes a while to articulate as well, because I don't think everybody. I didn't know this myself until when you have to sit down and actually realize, oh, this is why we do this. This is why, like, Nigeria is a kind of culture where, like, what's it called? The poverty level in Nigeria is like the disparity. Like, the wealthy of Nigeria, the wealthiest people in Nigeria, and the poorest in Nigeria, the disparity is miles away. Like, right? There's a lot of poverty in Nigeria. Yes, but what you find is the joy. Like, I think Nigeria was recorded as one of the happiest places in the world. Right. Nigerians are the kind of people that a man with 5 kids will have, maybe just doing a very, very menial job, will find a way to celebrate every one of his kids' birthdays, get them a cake, do a little party for them. Like, they will make that decision to celebrate. Like, even though there's no money, it's like, we can celebrate, we have this party, but like, we might not pay rent next month. But we will celebrate this moment. That's the kind of culture I'm in. That's the kind of culture I grew up in. It's the kind of culture where the entire neighborhood raised you. Yeah. Not just your parents. So you can't just be a dickhead and just carry on being a dick. Auntie next door will call you out on your BS. This and it's vice versa. And you do the same. Right, yeah. That's the kind of culture it was. So you can imagine the culture shock for me when I moved to the UK, and everyone was like, me, my house, and my own. Like, my neighbors didn't even know who I was. I said hello. They were like, yeah, no, and just didn't reply. Yeah. Or we'll close their door when we walk past, like, very quickly. It was like that community spirit was just like, oh, this is where we're different. This is how it's different. It's sad, that's the culture. So you can imagine that kind of background. Yeah, that was the like, Nigerians will choose to celebrate life for however long it is and live in that moment, and then go back to how do we hustle? Yeah.
I think that's fucking awesome, though, man.
I think it's absolutely fucking brilliant.
It's beautiful.
I think it's absolutely brilliant. Yeah. Because we have 80 years tops, 89 years top. If you're, what's it called, Captain, what's his name, Phillips? Was it Phillips? You get 100 years, like if you really, really, really live. Like, yeah. There's only so much, there's only so much you can go. Like, you have to live. You have to live, man. You have to live. You gotta live. I think that's kind of that's what I've noticed when it comes to the whole thing about, how, like, the difference where you can't teach it. And the thing is, it's also no excuse to not, like, this is a flip side. It's not an excuse to not experience life. Like, at every point in life, we can make decisions. Like you said, we make those decisions. We have those choices. Yeah. we make the decisions to involve ourselves and actually learn about other people, learn about other cultures, other experiences, and by doing so as well, understanding and living life and seeing life through another person's perspective. By doing that, we become evolved, our heart grows larger, our experiences and our viewpoint in life grows larger, and it improves.
Yeah,
and
man.
guess what? What happens? You live a better life as a result.
Thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast to catch up on new episodes every week. Also, check us out on our Facebook and Instagram at RecRooms, where you can find out about our other exciting music series. We also have this and all our other episodes of the podcast up on our RecRooms YouTube channel for your viewing pleasure. See you next time.